Welcome, everybody, to a Friday early afternoon triple header here at the CCA. It is semi-finals week. I am DRF, joined by my co-commentator today, Mizuno, to start off our 3-match set with a Division 5 showdown between Clark Coy and the TableTerp Troupe.
DRF, this is going to be a really exciting match with two group winners with a clean 6-0 record in the regular season and playoff season, heading into a really high intense semifinals match. And DRF, there's a lot to go over in terms of keys to victory, so I think we can kick it off there as these teams kind of get settled into their first match.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and take a look at those keys to victory here. TableTerp Troupe, they're coming into this. They said, hey, first thing is we need to just stay cool under pressure. And when you're going up against a team like Clark Coy, who's going to be consistently putting on the pressure, hey, that's a fantastic key to victory. I'm glad that they're staying ahead of that. You got to keep cool. And on top of that, not wiping out and staggering. Fantastic key to victory that I think is widely underrated here, because once you get staggered, it could be very difficult to get your team back into a position where you can contend. And then lastly, special coordination, going to be absolutely massive, especially as we look towards game number 1, Clan Blitz on Inkblot Art Academy. That for sure is going to be crucial for these teams. But I believe game 1 is about ready here, so we'll come back to talk about Clark's key to victories in a little bit. But Mizuno, let's load on in here to game 1, Clan Blitz on Inkblot.
We have TableTerp Troupe in the yellow ink, Clark Coy in the blue ink. And DRF, I'm loving some of these picks from the TableTerp Troupe. Jin rocking that Snipe Rider and Anchovy on a golden dynamo, so a lot of exciting weapon diversity there. Meanwhile, Clark Coy in the blue rocking a more typical comp with another variation of the dynamo being supported with that Nautilus. So really interesting comps here that I think could really bring out both potentials for both of these teams.
Yeah, I love this dual dynamo that we actually have going on here. Like we hardly ever see one, let alone two, one on each team. So these teams are definitely doing Frosty proud. So as we dive on into this one, 30 seconds in, we do see that both these teams trying to contend for mid, but no one really getting the upper hand quite yet. A little bit of passive play here as teams trying to utilize the range that they do have to try and make a play without feeding into the other team.
Agreed, DRF. I think the big point of focus right now is getting control of these stacks here. You see Rawsome from Clark Coy getting off a really nice Booyah Bomb to control and contend that left side stack, all the while trying to put on this pressure on the right side stack. Whichever team is able to contend and hold onto these two main stack areas is going to have the more advantageous possession to create a push onto that basket.
Absolutely. Minute and a half in here, and it doesn't seem like either team quite in a position to score yet. Oh, Clam Economy also kind of in shambles now with a couple of these players going down on either side. So it seems like TableTerp Troupe is still in the slightly better position, have a few more clams to their name, and as I say that, Power Clam comes in on the side of Clark. But this now might be an opportunity as Rawsome able to get the pick on the pencil there. White Pine trying to make a move, but no! Who's that? It's Sneaky being sneaky here and able to get a couple of massive picks to stop a potential Clark Coy push. And Mizuno, we continue to see ourselves at a stalemate at this stage.
There are just plays after plays being made here. Sneaky clutching out. Rawsome also making some really good plays earlier. On the side of the TableTerp Troupe, out of the side of Clark Coy. So both of these teams are just at each other's throats right now. Like I keep saying, with these contentions on this stack, both of these teams are incredibly determined to have control before they make a solid push on the basket. So patience is key for both of these teams, but they have to be careful because time is not on their side, as we're already halfway into this game and no points have been scored yet.
Oh, we are in for a long one here. I was expecting to see this in come game 5 when we reached Robo Robin, but these teams definitely having a little bit of difficulty just to get to the basket. Just stellar defense on both ends, because it seems like every single time that one team is ready to make a move, someone on the opposite side comes up with a massive play, just like this, where TableTerp was on the cusp there, holding onto Clark's ramp, but was just completely shut out there and lost their numbers advantage. So once again, we are back fighting for mid between these two teams. Ross, I'm gonna pop out that Booyah bomb, and Troupe? Okay, okay, weird one came in there with the Nautilus. Okay, I was wondering how that Dynamo player went down there. But once again, just a little bit of back and forth here, Mizuno. It's only a matter of time before somebody comes up with the big play that turns this game.
I suspect that specific play from the weird one, able to get that splash down and getting 2 picks, might have put Clark Koi in a slight advantage on the right side of the map here. But with the combination of Jin and Anchovy, the TableTerp Troupe was still able to hold it down, even though they were 2 down. So even with a giant stagger, all of a sudden, we see Jin looking to get a ball. Clams are flying in the air right now. They're trying to desperately pass it to Jin. Here comes the trip. Here comes everything, and they're able to finally pop the basket. The University of Maryland College Park finally able to get the first points on the board. Anchovy looking to swing in with some extra clams, unsuccessful. Splatjack also going down, and Clark Koi is finally able to control that basket and push away the members of the TableTerp Troupe.
Absolutely. So we're not going to get 8 minutes of clamlets, that's for sure. So it will come down to these last 30 seconds. Clark searching for an answer. They have 2 down on the side of TableTerp Troupe. Opportunity now, Rossum coming up the ramp, trying to pinch the members of the TableTerp Troupe, able to find one, but no, TableTerp responds beautifully here with a couple of picks of their own. It is a bloodbath on the plat of the TableTerp Troupe, but Clark Koi with a power clam will get overtime to try to make one last play. The machine goes down, and opportunity is knocking for Clark Koi.
This is crucial here. They need to replicate that same pinching strategy that they just tried to execute just 30 seconds ago. But time is not on their side. We're already halfway through overtime, and White Pine is stuck here with the pity clam, popping that cooler, and they just cannot find a way in DRF. And with that said, not quite enough room and leeway for Clark Koi, and the first game is going to go in favor of the TableTerp Troupe.
Wow. What a game one there between those two teams, as it really was very unpredictable. Either team just could have won that game, just time and time again. They were going back and forth, just trying to make a play, but just nobody was able to come out with anything. So just excellent play from both those teams from a defensive perspective. As alas, they did. We finally saw TableTerp come out on top there. And as I'm looking at the stats here, because we have that ability to do so by having a second spectator in the lobby, Sneaky coming up with 24 in that game one.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think it comes to show that Sneaky was enabled to get those 24 KA ratio because they had really good, strong support from their teammates. So credit where credit's due there. But Clark Koi, they are so close here, Ref. Like, even with that game one and how close it was, they just need to just tie things a little bit closer together, right? Like, I tried to call out during the match there, Rossum was creating a really good pinching opportunity while the rest of the members of Clark Koi, like Weird One and White Pine, were on that ramp, and Rossum was on that left side ramp trying to create that pinching opportunity, and it just wasn't quite there. If Clark Koi is able to continue to make those types of plays and just get that execution down, they're still in this match for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And as our producer is pointing out behind the scenes here, Sneaky was on the all Div 6 team last season. So numbers like these are not a stranger to Sneaky at all. So anticipate to see that be a recurring theme possibly here going into these upcoming games. So Clark Koi definitely has their handful with Sneaky and the TableTerp Troupe, as Clark Koi has probably been one of the most dominant teams in the regular season. But hey, TableTerp Troupe giving them a run for it so far. So should be an exciting set if that game one was any indication.
Right, exactly. I think turning to Clark Koi's keys to victory now. One thing to call out is the stronghold of clam baskets. Obviously, we just played game 1 being on clam blitz, and with the result of the game, they were quote-unquote unsuccessful to do so. But, like you mentioned earlier, the game had really strong defense for the majority of that match. So I think they're still able to achieve that key to victory at the end of the day in future Clam Blitz matches later on in this set.
Yes, and as game 2 starts to load up here, let's dive on in. It is Splat Zones on B&D. I gave my spiel on this one last night. Not the biggest fan. This game will probably come down to who gets that first solid control of the zone. Whoever wins this first team fight here in mid will probably run away with this game here, as we do see the Gal on the side of TableTerp Troupe going down early. NZAP finding themselves down on as well. A bloodbath early on. 3 members down on the side of TableTerp Troupe, but it's going to be the Gal. Oh, Gal trying to make a play there, but not going to be able to survive. This will go to Clark Coy to open up this game. Now the question is, can they secure the lockout?
How they can secure it indeed is they're going to need to keep continuous pressure on this top right side of the map, where you see Sneaky already trying to pop some specials here and not getting any picks. This is going to be very crucial to slowly make their way back in, and keeping control of this right side area of TableTerp Troupe's map is going to be crucial if Clark Coy wants to wind down this game and just completely clear it out.
Absolutely. 2 down on either side now, and it's just the machine left standing for the TableTerp Troupe. Trying to make a play here, picks off the Dynamo. Opportunity for TableTerp to secure this zone, but no, it's the NZAT that comes in from behind, and we will see once again a 100-0 push on Splat Zone's Barnacle and Dime for Clark Coy to tie up this set early on.
That was a nice turnaround. Clark Coy clearly took those adjustments from that first game and made it happen, right? I think they were a little bit more cleaner with how they wanted to create that pinching opportunity into the zone. So they were able to actually execute on that. And like we were mentioning earlier, like exactly like you said, whoever gets that first very dominant and clear control of the zone is going to take the game outright. And with Clark Coy having a really nice pitching opportunity to open that game up and being able to sustain that offensive front just long enough for folks like Sneaky or Anchovy to not disrupt them, it was just a very clean, well-executed game for Clark Coy.
It absolutely was. As taking a look at the stats here, as I go and retrieve them. So from that second game, we do see that Rossum coming up 6-2 for Clark Coy, but an all-around fantastic team effort. Weird One going 4-1, Pirate 4-2, White Pine 3-1. So a really balanced effort there from all the members of Clark Coy to initiate that lockout and just make it so difficult for TableTerp to work back towards that zone.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And I think the thing to call out there was that not many members of Clark Coy fell to the trap of the constant splatting, right? Getting splatted, rather, right? If staying alive in Barnacle and Dime is so key to creating that sustainable front when you have control of the zone. So they were able to do that really well. And also, to their point, to the keys to victory, I think they really were able to secure really good 2v1 situations and play off of the constant chip damage that they were able to accumulate in pushing the members back of the TableTerp Troupe. So again, I think really well executed game from Clark Coy.
Yeah, absolutely. As we start to get prepared here for game number 3, which will be tower control on Hagglefish Market. Now, of course, game 2, we anticipated that to be a snowball one way or the other. It was just a matter of who got control first. Tower control Hagglefish, on the other hand, tends to be a lot more back and forth. Of course, last night we saw the Night Sharks just completely decimate this mode. It was just not even close. So, hey, it's been proven that we can kind of just see this game go anyway as well. But historically, we've tended to see some really competitive, tight-knit matches in Hagglefish Tower.
Right, I was going to say, with that Night Sharks match, completely dominant, right? That's one side of the coin. But like you said, this match can be really competitive and a constant tug of war. In the Div 6 semifinals with Sun God Squad and ONSU Gray, it was just a constant back and forth, and it was just whichever team was just barely able to breach that second checkpoint created that snowball effect. So I think that's the key to victory here for this specific game. Whoever can get past that second checkpoint will be in the clear for this game.
Well, let's go ahead and load on in as we do see a couple of adjustments on either side here. It is going to be for TableTerp Troupe, the Squeezer and the Range Blaster popping up here. So it should be pretty interesting. I love, of course, the Range Blaster just always makes sense on tower control, especially on something like Hagglefish, where you have a lot of areas where you're trying to just get that chip damage around the tower, but you have to play from pretty far away. So Range Blaster to me just always makes so much sense. And the double slosher combination on the side of Clark Coy, I will never say no to a double slosher combo.
Agreed. I think the big thing to call out is, like you said, is that blaster. I think we were missing it while we were talking, but on the left side there, Clark Coy tried to do a 2v1 situation on that left side flank. But TableTerp Troupe was able to take care of that. Great trade there with White Pine, and looks like one of the members of TableTerp Troupe. So both of these teams are kind of playing to their weapons advantage here, as we already see the TableTerp Troupe just blazing through this first checkpoint and already shimmy on over to the second one.
Yeah, it's a dominant TableTerp push so far. They do take out Sneaky, and that's going to be 2 down on either side now, actually, as this is just a massive collision between these two teams around the tower. Weird One somehow gets control of the tower, gets the pick, but ends up trading out there. TableTerp holds onto this tower just a little bit longer, and with, I think, a number of players being pushed out here, this tower will start to reset, but this Zuka coming in, going to try to help maintain control for TableTerp. So I think if Clark can survive a couple of these specials, they should be in position to try to turn this around and get control of the tower for the first time this game. But once again, seeing a couple trade outs here in Mizuno, as TableTerp will try once more to keep this push going.
Right, exactly. TableTerp Troupe has the advantage of blasting through those first 2 checkpoints. That's going to make the tower move like butter and make their potential pushes in the future a lot easier and a lot more quickly. They're not going to get stagnant or stopped up on those choke points. Nonetheless, though, Clark Coy is going to march on ahead, popping that cooler on the tower, White Pine on the tower going down, and Rossum trying to hold down this encampment area all by themselves for the time being, as the members of the TableTerp Troupe are slowly to move back into mid.
2.5 minutes gone in this game. Rossum gonna pop out this Booyah Bomb, trying to zone out a couple of players. No, TableTerp backs up, able to do so safely, and now rushing back towards this tower, trying to keep control of mid. Trip strikes out as well for Clark, not able to find anything. Last one a bit delayed there, but not able to make that impact. And again, we are back at a stalemate. But right now, this stalemate is benefiting only one team, and that team is TableTerp Troupe, because they've already had a massive push this game.
Exactly. TableTerp Troupe has complete control of what they want to do in terms of pacing. They can either go ahead and be really aggressive and start shoving the tower into Clark Coy's face, or, like you said, they can kind of play a little ball game and wait for the right moment to strike. And right now, Clark Coy is some staggered respawns on the side of Clark Coy, which is really tough to come back from. You need to attack this as a unified front, TRF. And with a minute and a half left, this is going to get more and more difficult for Clark Coy to get back into the game.
Starting to run out of time here, but it's actually going to be TableTerp Troupe that's adding points to the board here. And now we are at that pivotal 3rd checkpoint. Everybody from Clark rushing in, trying to stop Jin on the tower, able to pick them up, but it's Sneaky that jumps in at the perfect time to keep the tower moving all the way to a KO. What timing there from this team to be able to get the tower where they needed it, enough time to get the jump in and ride away into the sunset. Oh, what a play.
What a play. I can only imagine Jin in the VC or in the comms being this way, come to me right now. And Sneaky coming in clutch, jumping right on in. And again, like I said, the tower moves like butter. And if you have someone on there, it's going to shimmy on through. So really good game from the TableTerp Troupe out of the University of Maryland College Park. That was just really solid. Like they did exactly what they needed to do and they stayed cool under pressure. That was really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out here to Jin and Anchovy. I noted it seemed like that there was a lot of different fights and just collisions between these two teams. But both of those players only died 3 times that entire game. Jin going 13-3 and 5 specials, Anchovy 14-3 and 5. Just fantastic to be able to stay alive and continue to get your team in time and time again. Enables to be able to enable Schmet and Sneaky, who are your aggro players. They're relying on you to be able to stay alive, play that mid range really, really well, and they did that to perfection.
Well said. And glad we have the stats to back that up, right? Because Jin and Anchovy are going to be kind of the underlining force that will propel Sneaky forward and Schmet forward. And they did their job in a really tough TC match where you can quickly fall to a very terrible kill to death ratio, right? Because of all the constant flankings and how condensed Hagglefish Market can feel sometimes with all the flanking. You're just being shoved into the mid all the time, right? They just played really well, and if they continue to play like that and stay alive and try to enable their teammates, like you said, DRF, TableTerp Troupe is going to continue to have several strong games.
Absolutely. Well, these teams seem ready to go. We are going to dive on into game number 4, which will be Rainmaker on Manta Maria. So let's go ahead and load on in here. Mizuno, take a look at these compositions and tell me what you're seeing.
Clark Coy kind of sticking to what we've seen before, like in Barnacle and Dime with the double slosh, and of course the Dynamo coming back with White Pine. I don't think there were any adjustments, barring Sneaky going to the back to the sloshing machine. So pretty similar comps to what we've seen before. I think these teams are pretty comfortable with not running anything too controversial or out of the norm that they're used to. And that's going to pay off as we see Anchovy on the gold Dynamo here, getting a nice pick on Clark Coy to kick things off.
Yeah, and these teams just trying to find a bit of position here in mid, trying to see if they can get anything going. It's going to just be the machines on either side going down, Dynamo going down. Yeah, I just realized we have double mirror match here with with the machine and the Dynamo in particular. But it's going to be Sneaky with I think that was Sneaky on the double, able to get a nice pick there. But just so far, neutral game, 1 minute in, nobody really trying to make a move until they've got full clearance that they are in a power position.
Right, exactly. A clear path to victory in this case. I think both of these teams are being a little bit more timid with the Rainmaker. And like you said, right, they're, instead of trying to force their way in, they're trying to be a little bit more methodical with it and find a totally clear 100% open avenue. And Schmet popping off that Zuka there, trying to find a pick and maybe one of these avenues here, but unsuccessful to that start. So it looks like TableTerp Troupe, considering how much paint control they have here in mid, might be the ones to grab the Rainmaker first, as they do so. Commentator's curse.
2 down on either side. This will be an opportunity for TableTerp to actually try to keep this push going, but this Booyah Bomb coming at the perfect time to stop that pop from flipping orange there. So now everybody holding position, trying to force this Rainmaker to pop in their favor. Pirate gonna dive in on Schmed. That's gonna be a trade out. But this Rainmaker still not popped. Both teams doing everything they can to try to get it. And finally, TableTerp will get the pop in their favor. But it's weird one on the side of Clark Coy that picks this one up.
Right, exactly. and looks like Clark Coy is trying to make a little bit more leeway, but there's a lot of paint that they're going to have to cover first before they can proceed. Oh, that is a really tough splat bomb there from Clark Coy as 2 members of TableTerp Troupe are down, but it looks like Schmei is able to come up clutch here with a kill off of that Zuka. So resetting for Clark Coy here as they pop the cooler and look to find their way back in.
Yeah, and this actually will be checkpoint for Clark. Yes, Weird One's gonna dunk it as they go down. So Clark Coy takes the lead and the checkpoint advantage. 2 down on either side with that Booyah Bomb, just taking everybody out. And this will be an opportunity for something to Jin somehow, some way actually forces the reset there. That did not look pretty. When you're face to face with a dynamo like that, it's not very often that you come out. I was gonna say come out alive, but I guess they jumped off the map. So come out with what you were trying to pull off.
No kidding, but it looks like it worked as intended because it does push Clark Coy back a bit and having to kind of reset the ground and try to get back to where they're used to. But TableTerp Troupe taking advantage of Jin's mistake or good play, as now they finally have control back of mid and they are marching their way towards this podium with Sneaky popping this Booyah Bomb and looking to hopefully stall the members of Clark Coy.
Oh, and a beautiful trip strike here, going to push all the members of TableTerp out of the way. So it's not going to be an opportunity for the TableTerp Troupe to add any more points on. Although Sneaky is actually playing behind now, able to pick off the machine. And this could be an opportunity for the TableTerp Troupe. 3 members going down. Sneaky with the flank that could change everything.
This was a very good flank from Sneaky, playing the stall tactics just long enough. And here comes Jin with the Rainmaker, just swimming on through and able to get down to 17 points DRF. I think that flank from Sneaky was game-changing there. Holy cow.
Yeah, and it really came down to that 1v1. If whoever won that was going to flip the tide of this match, and it was Sneaky that won. So it's now TableTerp all the way down to 4 points remaining with an opportunity to knock out Anchovy, going for it and nails it. TableTerp Troupe with the Game 4 victory to put this team up 3-1.
Wow. And like we said, that was the pivotal moment where it changed, right? The teammates of the TableTerp Troupe were enabling, excuse me, there, hold on. Whoa, let me get my brain straight. TableTerp Troupe enabling Sneaky to take that right side flank, right? And being able to open up that opportunity, right? Creating that pinching moment there. And allowing Sneaky to pop that Booyah Bomb to win that to essentially win the 1v1 at the end of the day was monumental. And what a great play, honestly.
Yeah, just a pretty balanced effort all around once again. Nobody really sticking out as like the big player of this game, looking across the board on the stats. Oh, there we go. My apologies. Yeah, it's 11, 10, 10, and 9 on KA down the board for TableTerp Troupe for Sneaky, Jin, Anchovy, and Schmeh. So just fantastic effort there from everybody. Like, what, 5 specials for everyone there as well, 3 to 5 deaths for everybody. Everyone about 1,000 to 1,400 paint. So just even on the side of Clark, also a very balanced effort. Of course, the number is going to be slightly favoring TableTerp as they came out on top there. But both teams really are starting to be coordinated here, not relying on any sort of hero plays, although you could make an argument there for the sneaky flank. But the numbers just tell the story of just these teams are really doing a great job of relying on each other and backing each other up.
Fully agree. We specifically call out Sneaky because we saw the monumental play that changed the game for TableTerp Troupe. But exactly like you said, with the stats and the story, members like Schmeh being able to get some really nice picks throughout the match. We saw that with that whipping out that Zuka, I swear almost every other time we had their point of view. Jin also providing that really nice support, and Anchovy, also both Anchovy and Jin still continuing to work together. They just need to keep that up throughout this set as they are up 3-1, and we're heading into our 5th game now on Clan Blitz Robo Ramen.
Oh boy. If game 1 was any indication, we're in for the long haul here, Mizuno. So this is going to be a slow game to start if I had to anticipate it. As this is, again, statistically, our lowest scoring map mode this season, 2nd that we have ever seen behind Mincemeat Clams. So this should be fun. Just anticipate a lot of stalemates early on, but as we kind of look at the map, it does seem like TableTerp Troupe riding a bit of that momentum from that previous game and trying to get a push early, and they're actually going to get it. Jin with the first score of the game. That splashdown coming in to try to put a stop to it, but not going to be able to do so. A few more points should be in. Yep, here it is. There you go. Schmeg gonna get a few more points in. But this push, I think, is finally gonna be done. So a quick and early push to prove me wrong out of TableTerp Troupe.
I really liked how Anchovy came in with the Dynamo and started fanning out those giant, like, I don't even know what to call those giant flicks, right? That was really, really impactful and really pushed the members of Clark Coy back and allowed, like you said, Jin to come in and have a little bit more room to pop that basket open. So really good place from the TableTerp Troupe to kick things off. But we cannot discount Clark Coy here, as they are not going to be fooled twice by Anchovy's very obvious play there, and Pirate comes in clutch and starts to move in onto the zone, with Weird One getting a nice pick on that splashdown, looking to follow up against Jin, and Anchovy is able to get a second one. And now here comes Clark Coy storming here to the basket.
Oh, a great response out of Clark, but they do lose 1, they do lose 2, so not going to have a lot of follow-up. White Pine doing everything they can to stay alive, was hoping to get a couple more clams in, but they're going to retreat back to mid and try and put up some defensive front here, wait for their team to get back into action. They do so now. So honestly, I'm pretty impressed with how quickly these teams have been able to score in this game, given the trends that we have seen out of CB Robo Ramen. But it's been fantastic thus far. And we're only halfway through this game, Mizuno, so I think we might actually see a couple more scoring opportunities as Pirate comes up with a triple!
Triple, baby! Pirate coming in clutch, and here comes Clark Coy with a Booyah Bomb to boot. Rossum and White Pine following up here to get this basket open. But even with that triple, they still don't have the lead yet, as, a clean clutch play from Schmei, able to take down that extra clam, and TableTerp Troupe can wipe the sweat off their brow as they were just barely able to prevent an overturn of the score here.
Absolutely. Very, very good defensive front. Clark had a impressive offensive push there, just a little bit short of what they were hoping to pull off there. And it seemed like that was kind of what happened in both pushes. They got into a great position, but there was just one player that was just hanging around that they couldn't get rid of, that managed to shut down the push before it spiraled out of control. And now Jin diving in with another power clam will add 1 point to the board after clearing that penalty. So is that going to be a difference maker here? Probably not. Because it doesn't change Clark Coy's win condition here. They still need 3 clams regardless in order to 3 clams on top of a power clam will give them the lead. Apologies for my math error there, but a power clam still gives Clark Coy.
Right, exactly. Like you said, game winning condition does not change here. And at the end of the TableTerp Troupe is going to have to either effectively stall out the match with less than a minute left to go, or find ways to make a more sustainable push rather than just getting together and scrambling just a ball in, when that's not going to be as effective and at risk of potentially having a few members down. This could be the start of something here for Clark Coy, as they're able to get a member down of the TableTerp Troupe. But they just keep being so relentless, as we see 2 Zukas coming out, 2 members down of Clark Coy, and here comes Jin with the ball this time and jumping out as Schmei is still left alive, and there's a delayed wipe for TableTerp Troupe. Clark Coy unable to get any more points into the basket there. as they're looking to back away.
Power clam.
And the
power clam. No, they didn't pick it up. Oh, they could have had 2 power clams to work with, and they needed both. They needed both because a power clam here gets them to 58. If they had 2 power clams, they could have put themselves in a position to dunk both and win. But now they're gonna have to do this the hard way. They're already way back in their spawn, trying to get across this map in record pace, but time quickly running out for Clark. They're not going to be able to get there in time, and TableTerp Troupe goes up 4-1 and is a game away from advancing to the Division 5 championship.
Man, with TableTerp Troupe, they just got all the right pieces of the puzzle, right? And they're just putting them all together in place. They have a really nice synergy going on with Anchovy and with Jin, working to enable their teammates like Sneaky and Shmei. They have something really nice going here, and they can very easily continue to ride this momentum into clutching out this match and punching their ticket in, as you like to say, DRF, into grand finals. But we cannot totally discount Clark Coy yet, right? These have been some very close matches, and we're going to be heading into a mode that favors Clark Coy heavily with Splat Zone's Mahi Mahi, with Clark Coy being the only team that's won that specific map, that specific mode in this set, DRF.
Absolutely. So definitely something to keep an eye out on, because Splat Zone's Mahi does, in my opinion, it's similar-ish to Splat Zone's B&D. It is very lockout heavy. So if Clark can find themselves in a similar position that they did in Game 2, they should be able to get an opportunity here to keep this set alive. And Mizuno, as I'm kind of looking through some of the history here of this division so far, one thing that I'm actually recognizing is on the other side of this bracket, we have A-State Black and CSUDH Ivory. Mm-hmm. Both of those teams were in the respective groups of Clark Coy and TableTerp Troupe. So that actually makes this really interesting, because Group 3, Group 4 have been eliminated. All those teams have lost in the quarterfinals. So if you're Clark Coy and TableTerp Troupe, you're probably coming into this match right now saying, hey, if we can just win this, our odds of winning the overall division skyrocket, because they have already demonstrated that they can beat in TableTerp's case, CSUDH Ivory, and in Clark's case, A-State Black. So really, really interesting to think about here. But I will also recall that back in Season 2, we had 3 division finals that were group stage rematches, and the team that lost won the division. So it's anybody's game still. But if you're TableTerp or Clark, you've got to be thinking, hey, if we could get through this one, we're going to feel really good about the final. And TableTerp is 1 game away from really starting to think about that and feel the Division 5 crown in their grasp as we load on in.
It is do or die for Clark Coy as we are loading in now into game number 6 on Splat Zone's Mahi Mahi. We're seeing some very familiar comps that both of these teams have run before, except for on the side of TableTerp Troupe. They're bringing out the Dread Ringer, which is a very saucy pick. I believe that's Sneaky that's running the Dread Ringer this time around, and Sneaky's just going all in and trying to get a couple of picks. And now, with 2 members down for TableTerp Troupe, it looks like it's going to be Clark Coy's favor to kind of get back this zone.
Yes, and they do flip it back in their favor, but are at a numbers disadvantage, so it's not going to be a long hold, but at the very least, it was something to get started, as Rossum actually in the background there comes up with a massive pick on Sneaky before they could pop that Reef Slider. This zone hotly contested right now. 2 members going down on either side, and it seems like this is once again a neutral zone. Trip Strike's coming out trying to flip it. Clark trying to put as much paint down as possible, able to finally do so. This is just wild back and forth between these 2 teams thus far. But there's the wipeout, Mizuno! Ho ho!
Right as we say that, what a very good Reef Slider play from Sneaky there. Able to just create that open window of opportunity for the TableTerp Troupe, and there goes Sneaky running on into Clark Coy's base, going down, but it is A-okay because that is enough disruption that Clark Coy has to start throwing out everything, including the kitchen sink, to get back the zone and flip it into their favor. Man, what a series of plays.
Absolutely, but Clark hanging on here. They did get the flip of the zone. Honestly, I'm impressed that Clark managed to flip the zone as fast as they did, because I feel like TableTerp right now should have been in the 40s or the 30s with the position that they found themselves in. But Clark, fantastic comeback. Trying to keep this zone alive in their favor. Sneaky with another reef slider. Gonna go down. And this is a 3-down situation once again for Clark Coy. TableTerp trying again to initiate a lockout.
Man, this is where things are going to be do or die now, as TableTerp Troupe is winding down that penalty and is just going to start knocking down points off the board. So this is where Clark Coy is going to have to really come together and bring out those specials. But oh DRF, this is not good, as Clark Coy is now 2 members down, and with these trips in solo and not much support to follow that up, TableTerp Troupe is going to still continue to hold on to the zone.
Yeah, they needed some sort of follow-up there, but not able to find it. The zone neutral once again, but that's a wipeout, and that will do it. Barring a miracle from Clark here in the final seconds, this will be a TableTerp Troupe victory. They win the game and the set and advance to the Division 5 finals.
And with a stunning flourish, TableTerp Troupe has completed their semifinals run in the playoffs and is punching their ticket to grand finals to face off the winner of the CSUDH Ivory versus A-State Black match. What a game, DRF. Holy moly. TableTerp Troupe just looked strong. They looked great there.
They did. They really, really did. And honestly, coming into this set, Clark Coy had only dropped 1 game all season long. They lost 1 game in the group stage that was against A-State Black, who is on the other side of the bracket here. And then they swept U of A Axion Splatters to advance here. So it seemed like Clark Coy met their match in TableTerp Troupe, who again also had a fantastic regular season, only dropped 1 game in the group stage before being taken to 8 games by the Seminole Cephalopods Gold team. So fantastic all around from both of these teams, but it's the TableTerp Troupe who was just a little bit better today and advances to those finals where they await the winner of CSUDH Ivory and A-State Black.
Indeed, DRF. Shoutouts to our producer, Neptune, behind the scenes, also pulling up the final game here that was just played on Zone's Mahi Mahi to kind of take a look at the numbers here. And oh my gosh, I have to call out Jin immediately with that pencil.
No way.
Getting a clean 10-0 KD ratio, excuse me. That is probably one of the major factors in determining the outcome of that match. Having a player to not die, to not go respawn at all during that match, on splat zones no less, is very impressive.
That is very, very impressive. Something nerf pencil, right? I don't know. But it is true though. Jin did a fantastic job. Leveraging the range of that pencil. Playing into positions that they needed to in order to get the picks that were necessary. I mean, to still get 10 picks without getting splattered at all. Fantastic. So kudos. What an impressive performance from Jin and everybody in this lobby nonetheless. It seemed like in this set everybody had a fantastic game here and there. But again, ultimately TableTerp Troupe wins this one 5-1. And for Clark Coy, a fantastic season. I think it's something they should still be very, very proud of. And they have an opportunity to finish atop the podium. 3rd place match coming up for them next week as well.
Exactly. This was an achievement for them to get so far and to have such a really good regular season performance. This is something that Clark Coy should be very proud of, and I'm looking forward to see how crazy that their third place match will be next week. So I think DRF, we have More coming up ahead. We are not just having this one game today. We got a couple more games today.
We do. This was only match number 1 of 3 in our Friday afternoon triple header. Don't think we've quite had a triple header this early, but hey, that's how semifinals goes. So coming up next will be one of the most highly anticipated matchups. Even College Esports News managed to put this one out there. Red Embers versus PSU Blue on deck for the chance to advance to the Division 1 finals and face UCSD Esports Gold for the championship. We have a special guest commentator that will be joining us for that one. So I'm going to be taking my leave here, but Mizuno, you'll be back in just a little bit to facilitate that match.
Indeed, dear F. So, since you'll have to dip, unfortunately, and I get to stay, dear F, tell the good folks at home where they can find you.
Yes, you can go and find me on Twitter at DRF_Splatoon and on Twitch at TritonDRF. But, per usual, you can find me right here on the CCA channel covering all things Collegiate Splatoon. It has been an absolute pleasure covering Collegiate Splatoon this season. This may or may not be my last match on the mic to conclude the season. So if it has been an honor. And congrats to the upcoming division winners. So I'm looking forward to hearing all about it. But hey, that's going to do it for this match. Congrats to the TableTerp Troupe. We'll see you in about 10 minutes for that Division 1 semifinals match.